Welcome to the Danvers. I don't know what that is. We have an agenda for tonight's meeting over here. There are just two cases, so we should be moving through this fairly quickly. We have minutes from the August 16th meeting, and we have one correction. John?
Yeah, Madam Chair, if there needs to be a correction on page 2 to note 13,000 square feet. So with that correction, I would move to accept the minutes.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, can I just ask that everybody silence their cell phones so they're not ringing? I know everybody reaches in their pocket, so. And I'm going to introduce the members of the board all the way down to my right, John Bowner, then Jeff Sauer. I have Ken Scholes, who's our clerk tonight. I'm Becky Kilborn, I'll be the chair. Ken Jarvinen and Corinne Doherty, who is our alternate tonight. And from the planning department, we have David Fields and Georgia Pendergast. And the procedure for tonight's meeting is the clerk will read the notice of the hearing. Then we'll ask the applicant, are you okay? Closer? Okay. The clerk will read the notice of the hearing, then we'll ask the applicant to go up to the podium and use the microphone to present their information. And if Georgia has any exhibits, she'll help you by putting them up there. And we have a pointer somewhere. Is it on the podium? Okay. And so that you can point to anything that you want to. And then we'll go to the board to ask questions of the applicant. And we'll just go through the entire board, any questions that we have. And then we'll go to the audience for any comments or questions, or anyone who's called in would also be available for comments and questions. And then we will go back to the board for deliberations. And based on the comments from the board, I'll give you your options for moving forward, okay? And I think we're ready for the first case.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our first case is 13 Colantoni Drive, zoned R2. Request for a special permit in accordance with Section 9.3 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw for an extended family living area made by Sandra McGregor O'Brien Trust, docket 21-4953.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm here on behalf of the applicants, and we are requesting a special permit under Section 9.3 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow an EFLA, Extended Family Living Area, to be constructed and incorporated into a new home that is being constructed on the property known as 13 Colantoni Drive, which is a new subdivision in Danvers. And the applicants, Ms. O'Brien and Mr. Paquin, are building this home, and they wish to make accommodation for Ms. O'Brien's parents. Her father, John O'Brien, is certainly a longtime resident of the North Shore, and he has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and Lewy body dementia, and he needs to have support, family support, and family care, and that's really what extended family living areas are really all about. And so that's what is being proposed tonight. Georgia, if you could go to the floor plan, that would be helpful. So right from the very beginning on the design of this new single-family home, the EFLA has been part and certainly not only desired but necessary for this family. And so the applicant has worked with the project architect right from the very beginning to make sure that the EFLA conforms to the requirements and the design standards under Section 9.3 of the bylaw. So they have designed a single-family home that meets really all of those design standards set forth in Section 9.3. The applicant received a foundation permit based on the plans, and the foundation was put into place. Following the installation of the foundation permit, the building permit was applied for, and at that time, the building inspector, in consultation, I believe, with planning staff, determined that a special permit from the Board of Appeals was required. I will be honest, as I said in the application, I don't know why. But we were advised, and the building permit was issued. If you've been out and looked at the property, the building permit was issued. But it was issued with the understanding that we would have to come here for a special permit and that we could commence construction, and that's what's been going on. As you went out, it's a single-family home. The property is in the R2 zoning district. It complies fully with the R2 zoning bylaw. It has 20,000 square feet and 125 feet of frontage. You do have in this application a site plan, you have a floor plan, and you have the elevation drawings. The home itself with the EFLA complies fully with the dimensional and density requirements of the R2 zoning district, meaning that it meets all setback requirements and height requirements as well. So we have a conforming lot and we have a conforming home that is proposed on that lot. The property also, the design also meets all of the requirements, we believe, under section 9.3.4 of the zoning bylaw for the EFLA. We have a 747 square foot EFLA, and that's what you see. I'm going to use the pointer. I've never used the pointer before, but I'm going to try it.
Oh, can you just take the mic? Sorry. Sorry.
You're asking a lot now. I got a pointer and I got a mic. All right. So the EFLA is located right here. 740 square feet. It has a living room. It has a kitchen, a bedroom, and a bath, and a den in that area. Those items, crosshatched, as you can see, total 747 square feet. EFLAs, as you know, are permitted to have up to 750 square feet. So the square footage is by design. It was intended by the applicant to comply with all of the requirements. So it does have 747 square feet. We have common living areas that are not required under the bylaw, but this board does like to see common living areas, areas where the family will interact. And we have that here. We have the common living area will include the entry mudroom area, the garage, the screened-in porch, and the laundry. So we have the garage. There will be a garage space that will be available for the O'Brien's parents. We have the mudroom entry area. We have the laundry is here, and a screened-in porch. So these are the common elements that I think this board has looked for in the past, certainly the laundry room. And originally in this design, in the initial stages, there was a laundry built into the EFLA, but it was discussed and we wanted to have that common element because I know, again, not required under the bylaw, but something that you like to see. The further, this is a common entrance here as well into the mudroom area and into the screened-in porch, and this stair goes up to the rec room, family room that's on the second floor here. That's all part of the main home, which is over here. The EFLA itself does have an entrance here on the side. This is the street down here, so it does have an entrance on the side. This is the common area, common entrance for everyone to be able to use. Looking at the design standards under section 9.3, we do meet all of the requirements. They're outlined in the application. The first is only one EFLA to be created on the lot. We have only one EFLA here. The entrance to the EFLA for privacy is permitted under the bylaw and should be facing the driveway or the side, as shown, as I've just identified for you. The EFLA shall not have any more than 2 occupants, and that is the case here, John O'Brien and his wife. The EFLA shall not have separate or independent utilities from the dwelling unit, and that is the case here. And the EFLA shall not exceed 750 square feet. And again, the EFLA is 747 square feet by design. So we do feel that we meet all of the requirements. We have a conforming lot. We have a conforming dwelling on that lot. And we meet all of the design requirements of the EFLA. So we believe this should have been an EFLA that would have been permitted simply by the building inspector through the building permit process. However, again, we were advised we needed to come here, and so here we are. We are requesting a special permit, and we do meet all of the requirements as I've outlined in the application for issuance of a special permit under the zoning bylaw. So at this point, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Can you, all of us, our initial reaction was, what's the deal here? Why are you here?
Yep.
So you must have some idea, if you could clue us in, what you think the issues are, and unless you want us to just start asking questions.
No, I guess I'm a little puzzled
Okay.
by why we are here. This, again, was truly designed from the very outset to be fully conforming. There was an issue with it. I did have a meeting with Director Fields, and I thought we had addressed any concerns. One of the issues I think early on was that there was a separate laundry in the EFLA. So we took that out so that there would just simply be one common laundry area for the whole family. And so I thought we had addressed that. There is a basement under the EFLA. There is an attic, as is common, with a pull-down stair. And we have agreed that there would be a condition that's recorded with the EFLA deed restriction that says that the basement and the attic with the pull-down stairs will not be finished living space. I think it's common, although it really hasn't been in my recollection. An attic space has never been an issue on an EFLA before, particularly one with a pull-down space, and again, particularly when you're dealing with a family with the medical situation that we have here. So I think those issues were vetted, and I thought we were okay. And then I believe Director Fields went back and met with the building inspector and got back to me and said that he thought that there were, what did he say? That there were, the EFLA design deviations are too great to be issued by right. I guess I don't really understand that. That came back to me the day, or I believe the day of the filing deadline or the day before. So we moved quickly. We got it here because this seems to be the most expeditious way to do this. The parents are, you can see them on the screen. They are in Florida. The applicant is down there. Ms. O'Brien is down there with them, caring for them while the house is being constructed. Her husband Chad is here this evening, but this is a real hardship for them to get this moving along. And the O'Briens, who will be moving into this space, hopefully have already had to sell their home, and so they're waiting for this construction to be completed. So I truly think it complies with the bylaw, but we were advised that we needed to come here, so here we are, and hopefully we can answer your questions and proceed forward.
Okay, just a comment for Mr. Colantani and for you, is it was very difficult to find. I knew where it was, but there's no street sign. There was no way to find this property. So most people on the board have not seen it. So it'd be nice to get a street sign up over there.
We'll get that up this week, because that
Thank
should
you.
be there. Yep.
And I'm gonna start with John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Attorney McCann, I can see this font clear enough. The house is 4,000 square feet,
Yes, probably,
So-
approximately.
and the garage is 1,000,
Mm-hmm.
and the up was 747, so we're talking about 6,000 square feet, roughly, 5,700, somewhere in there.
Probably so, if you include the garage.
So I guess, I don't know if I agree with you on the entrance. I guess I don't understand when I look at the elevation drawing. I see that door is facing the street, and
Could we put the elevation drawing up, please,
It's
Georgia?
A31.
There it is.
Whoop, sorry about that.
All right, so you have the three garage doors.
yeah,
This is the common entrance that I mentioned earlier. The EFLA entrance is on this facade that is facing this way.
Basically, you go into a hallway and then you turn left into the L.
I still see it as two front doors, but all right.
Now, this is the door that goes into the mudroom and the laundry area. Can you switch back maybe to the floor plan?
But I guess my question is, so how does this comply with, that shouldn't be two entrances in the front of the building? Or not?
This is not the EFLA entrance. This is the entrance into the mudroom that goes into the laundry room and goes into the upstairs rec room and the rest of the house. This is the door that you were just looking at. The EFLA, its own door, is located on the side here, right here, and that's the facade that you really couldn't see on the elevation drawing. It's facing the driveway. So this door is the EFLA door, and it is not facing the street, which is what the bylaw talks about. And this is EFLA or not. This door would be here. This is the common door for the rest of the household that goes into the mudroom and the laundry room and the staging and porch and goes up into the rec room that joins to the rest of the house. So the EFLA entrance that is supposed to be on the side or the rear is in fact on the side, and it's right here.
I take it you're not willing to take a condition to remove it?
If taking this door up? No. Mr. Bonner?
No, the one that faces the
This
street, yeah.
You want that one up? They would take that.
Through you, Madam Chair, thank you. Can I ask David a question?
Yes.
Thank you. David, so, because I'm a little confused here too. So they meet the 750 square foot size. but are all effluents required to come through this board through special permit?
All EFLAs?
No, they're not.
Right.
So I guess if I could get some clarification on, I thought Attorney McCann.
Over 750 square.
Okay, so Attorney McCann's not sure why she's here, and I'm not either, so if you could maybe enlighten us.
Sounds like the building inspector didn't like the
Well, let David answer.
Well, I mean, Jeff's not too incorrect. I think the short of it is the building inspector didn't feel comfortable issuing the building permit, so we're here tonight. If you guys are okay with it,
Yeah,
that's
All right,
fine.
so
I mean,
it's really, so if upon inspection by the building inspector, he doesn't feel it meets this, that kind of kicked it over to us.
yeah, in the short of it, I mean, I think a lot of this also goes back to the conversation we had about how to measure the EFLAs, like we were talking about for the bylaw changes as well. I mean, on this one, it is fairly difficult because it's not generally what you all see or he sees as it's in the structure or part of the structure. It's completely separated and only attached by the garage, so.
Okay, no further questions, thank you.
Thank you.
I have no questions, Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also had a little issue with that door. I don't really feel the necessity of it. You can get into the laundry room and all that through the garage. If you go ahead. Why would you have to go in that door? But that's the only question I had. No
And we'll take that condition to remove that door.
This makes it look like it's two entrances, two families.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep, that's fine.
Thank you.
My questions have been answered. I'm all set.
Okay.
No questions.
Green. I guess my question is with the door, so there already is another front door on the main part of the house, correct?
Yes.
So you do have a main entrance to the main part of the house, and you have an entrance to the EFLA, and then you have that third door, and I know you've agreed to remove it, but even without that door, you have two entrances, one to the EFLA and one to the main part of the house, correct?
Correct.
Can I ask a question of Mr. Fields as well?
Yes.
Yep.
Did the building inspector, I mean, I know he doesn't feel comfortable, and I can see why, because there's the three-car garage in between, so it almost creates two separate spaces. So when, you know, the family need isn't there anymore, but the house still is, the concern is that this will become an illegal apartment, correct? And because of the way it's set up, you could easily shut or close off that space and have it be its own self-contained apartment. So did he make any suggestions as far as how they could change it to kind of avoid that situation?
I mean, at this point, with the foundation being poured, there's not a whole heck of a lot that could be done. I think part of it too was, I mean, the full stairway down to what could be a habitable basement, the full stairway up to what could be a habitable half-story. Again, it depends on what we're measuring, because those spaces, while they don't have drywall hanging in them, they could be habitable spaces. So that was another issue there, and that if you go up to the second floor, you can walk through a door to get into that half-story. So I think it was just, this is too much outside of the realm of what is normally seen, and he wasn't comfortable issuing the permit, so it was go to the zoning board.
And I agree, because really the only common space, there really is no common space. I mean, if you look at that 750, there is nothing in there that's a common space. And sure, they're now going to use the same laundry, but you can shut your door, and then it's all self-contained. So I certainly can see why he was concerned about it. And I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
So, I guess my only question is, the people in the main house, how do they do their laundry?
So, the only laundry for this whole household
Yes.
is right here. So, they will have access We're going to eliminate this door. They can come in through the garage, or remember that above the garage is a rec room that is open here from this space, and it's open here, and it's an open stairway into the mudroom entry here. So they would come down and go into the laundry here, just through their family room, rec room, down the stairs and into the laundry.
Okay. For the size and the value of this house, it seems very difficult, in my opinion, but that's,
Well, they
you definitely wouldn't want to have to go outside.
oh, no, you don't have to go outside. There is a second floor, and you do have the second floor plans in with your package.
Right.
So that's where the bedroom areas are here,
Okay.
okay? So you've got your bedrooms here.
Yep.
So you just walk through the rec room and down the stairs, and there's the laundry. So it's really not that difficult.
That makes sense.
It's actually less than in most homes where you have your bedrooms on the second floor and the laundry's in the basement.
Yeah.
Then you're going down and down. In this case, bedrooms here, through the rec room, down the stairs, laundry's right there.
Okay. And the room over the EFLA, how much space is there with full height?
In the attic?
Yeah.
Over the EFLA, how much space in there is full height, do we know? Just a moment, we can get that answer for you. The attic over the EFLA, that, again, we have agreed, and we would take, you can certainly put it in the decision, we have agreed to put that in the recorded deed restriction that is recorded for any EFLA. We would add to that the attic space above the EFLA and the basement space below would not be finished living space.
Okay.
That's full height.
Okay, just a minute. He's doing calculations.
He's doing the numbers.
Because it's a sloped roof.
Right,
Yeah.
so we're only looking for the square footage that would be full height.
So you're thinking it will be storage?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But if that, it's just attic space, so. 720.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
I just have one other question. So this attic space that's above the EFLA, does it only have one access point, or does it become the attic space over the entire house?
Come on. This is John Duggar, the architect.
Okay.
John Duggar, Gloucester, Massachusetts. I see why the confusion is there. That's a 4-foot-high attic hatch door. I call it a hatch, some people call it a door, but it's only 4 feet high because of the way the roof sloped down at that point. There's no full-height access from the rec room into the space over the EFLA.
So for the stairs, you're saying there's no access from the stairs into the EFLA, that you would, it's just a pull down? Okay. Right. Yeah, okay, I understand. John? I'm sorry, Corinne?
So in other words, the only entrance into that is that one entrance, and it's only on the EFLA side. So the other side of the house, the main house, has its own attic.
Rec room.
No, but is there an attic above there?
John Colantoni. I just want to try to simplify this.
John, can you take the microphone, please?
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, guys, we can't,
I understand.
people
Thank
need to hear it at home.
You're on top of the garage here,
Right.
which is the recreational room. You can get to it from this side, obviously, on the second floor. When you walk across it, you can go down the stairway that goes into that common area of the, outside the EFLA.
Yes.
Before you get to this stairway, a little to the left, this is an access point to above the EFLA for the storage, which is not full height, and this door is not full height. Could anyone have access from this side or this side for storage here? The answer is yes. But you get to it at the same level as above the garage.
Okay. That answer?
Right, is there a second attic, or is that the only attic space in the entire house?
There's no attic space here. And John, I don't think, so we do have some attic space above the main house as well.
Okay, so there is 2 attics then?
Yes,
Okay, thank you,
Yep.
that was my question.
thank you.
John?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So, Attorney McCann, I mean, with the health situation here, I just don't understand this design of putting an EFLA with a 1,000 square foot garage in between. So what thoughts were given to that? I just don't, I guess when I think of EFLAs, I think of, you know, close by, and I can see where the building inspector's confused by this. So, I mean, what thoughts were given to even switching these and having the 3-car garage over on the left and the EFLA right next to the main house?
The house is half built.
The foundation permit was given based on these plans, and the foundation was poured before we were made aware that the building inspector had an issue. He knew that there was an EFLA as part of this project when he issued the foundation permits. So there again, it's kind of similar to the laundry situation that the chair had asked. It's very simple to get to the EFLA for care purposes. Simply, you're going from the second floor where all the bedrooms are and the family is. You go through the family room, down the stairs, and you're right at the EFLA. So, with the garage on the first floor, in between, I understand your thought process. But when you look at the building as a whole, and you have the bedrooms, and then a family room, stairs down, and you're right there at the EFLA. It does provide some privacy for the EFLA, which is permitted under the bylaw, and so that was, it really does flow well when you think of it, that way. John, Duggar, did you want to add anything to the thought process?
Yeah, this, that was maybe to those people, but 3D design people, handicaps, absolutely. End up being to see a lot more of this kind of separation. I don't know if you live with a grandparent, because I spend a lot of time doing it. I'm sure it's definitely the case here, because we're seeing more and more people living in greater and greater regions. Just why this mental health is reluctant to these things now. But when they start having white terrors and rummaging around in the dark, we don't want the rest of the family behind. So we're driving more physical separation. It's one of the reasons why this is like, apart from the fact that it's just a point line.
I would think you would want the opposite, though. I mean, personally, that you wouldn't want to not hear it. I'm just saying because, yeah, something could happen. They could fall down and need help.
This space right here is called den. That would become commercial. And that is how you really take care of someone who's in some shape. Because in there is sleeping. That's why that's there.
yeah, it's an option.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. So I basically see that, you know, if you have two really functioning families and elderly parents and then a young family, you do want some separation. And so that's the point of putting them, I mean, we have approved garages as a separate living space, but typically that garage was already built. You know, it's an existing structure, but it's too bad we're at this point now that you're having these questions now, because the structure is already to a high level of completion, you know, with the foundation and everything, so.
I don't disagree with you. It's unfortunate that the foundation permit was issued.
Yeah.
Understanding there was an approval based on these plans, and then
Right.
the questions arose. That is very unfortunate, but that's what
Right.
happened, and as it put a lot of stress on this family,
Sure.
I can tell you it has. And that's unfortunate, but we're here, and we're trying to deal with this.
Right. I mean, the process through the town should have been smoother in the way that this was
You know,
handled.
we are where we are. This is going to be a young family that will be living here. There will most probably be kids involved, and you're going to have a good connection on the second floor and down those stairs without utilizing the garage, without going outside to have that connection, but still provide some separation, both privacy separation as well as acoustical separation and everything else. But as we talked about before, 750 square feet is small. How many times have I come here asking for larger?
Sure.
Because when you're downsizing, getting to 750 square feet is tough. They have done that here. They have made that accommodation to have a bedroom of the size. That's a small bedroom, and it's a small living room, and it's a small kitchen, so that it meets the requirements. So there will be some common usage. I would suspect that John O'Brien and his wife are going to be using the rec room. You know, the common area with the family and with the grandchildren and the screened-in porch. But their private area is under 750 square feet, and that's what the bylaw talks about.
All right, any other questions from the board? We good? Okay, any questions or comments from the audience? Mr. Bradstreet.
Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. This is a brand new house that's being built with the temple.
Yes, it will. The deed will have a deed restriction.
At some point in the future, when this house is sold, soon the building is up, that applicant become an apartment.
No, it cannot. It stays with the house forever.
Very large house with a lot of room, or a house with a
Well, they can have a big rec room. They can put a lot of pool tables over there.
This is a very large house. As far as the sloped roof over the upper, full dormer would accommodate another room.
Yeah, but they're not proposing that. We
Not
can't
now.
comment on something that,
Can't
yeah.
anticipate the future, or you can't either, but I can picture that at some point, if someone chose to, they could raise a little full dormer. Now, just the attic is not just an attic, it's a full room.
We're not being asked to vote on that.
Like I said that, just putting it out.
Anybody can renovate their house, yes.
Good.
Thank you. As you have done. Mr. Duggan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we just clarify where this property is? Is
Yes,
And what lot
off
number?
of 62. You go all the way to up
Where it is, what lot number?
13. Well, I don't know, what's the lot number, John? 4? Okay, 4. It's at the end, at the top of the cul-de-sac, all the way at the
All
top.
right. Yeah, if that was on the agenda, it would have made it easier to understand what's going on here. So, let's talk about the basement of the effluent. So that sounds like it's another 750. Is there only one entrance into the basement, and it's from the effluent? Is it, can someone point out where the stairs to the basement are?
I assume they're in the back there.
On the mudroom?
Yes. In there.
Is there a bulkhead outside? Thank you for that. So the basement just seems like another, basically doubling the floor space, even though it's not going to be finished basement. To me, it's still kind of a livable space. It's not too hard to kind of, make it.
Again, it's unfinished, so.
And then, there's one bedroom,
Yes, and a small den.
and the traffic flow, I heard that if you're on the second floor where the bedrooms are, you can just go through the rec room. But people usually live on the first floor, kitchen, living room, so if you were to go to the effluent from the first floor, you'd have to go through the garage. There's doors on both sides, I see. So people would traverse through the garage to get to the other side? Is that a fair assumption?
Mrs. McCann?
That's one way to do it, or they would go up the steps and through the rec room, family room, and downstairs.
Okay.
I personally have a house that's laid out that way, and I walk up and down the stairs all the time, and it works great.
It's kind of, to me, it seems like one of those situations where it's ask permission, beg forgiveness. So
Well, you'd have to remember that the, not to throw anybody under the bus, but the building inspector issued a permit based on the floor plan, and the foundation was poured, and the structure is half up, more than half up.
yeah, my only concern is when I hear apples, and I'm sure this applicant is being truthful about how it's going to be used, but I always think down the road, like with the next owners, 10, 20 years from now, that's where we try to intercept the two-family kind of layout.
I think that any neighbor that saw that there was an issue could definitely contact the town. They're not supposed to be renting these out. They're not supposed to be on Craigslist. They're supposed to be for families. So, I mean, it's as with everything else in town in terms of, you know, list the things, unregistered vehicles sitting in people's yards, you know, I mean.
Well, it sounds like a nice family night, and
Yeah, and I think,
sounds like, for the time being anyway, why this family's going to be living there, it sounds like it's inappropriate. So I'm just
trying to
worried-
give people housing, you know?
Yeah. Just thinking-
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted you to realize too that their clients agreed to this whole layout. So they're the ones who have to deal with it. Going up, going over, whatever they have to do, so.
That's a good comment, yeah.
And there is a deed restriction
Correct.
that is specific to an EFLA, that anyone buying this property is right in the chain of title, and the next person who comes along who wants to do this business in EFLA has to register with the building inspector.
Right.
Right.
It's a process, and refile a new application. So that gives more teeth even than your standard special permits and variances where there isn't that continual follow-up when property title changes.
And I think we had a limitation of what, 25 a year? Is that right? 25 a year was put into the bylaws, and we have never even hit 25. We're just not seeing a lot of them. So, Mr. Bradstreet, you have another comment, question?
Again, Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting, Precinct 1.
Okay. I'll ask the developer to comment on that once you leave the podium. Thank you.
Yes, the street sign will be up, and typically if they're not up, there's usually signs with the lot numbers on them once building permits are issued. But that'll happen.
What did he say?
He's all set. He will.
Okay, he'll take care of it.
We'll take care of those.
All right, can we move on now? Are we ready? You have anything else you want to say? Okay, I'm going to John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It just really seems unfortunate that we're at this point with this project because I don't think in the spirit of the EFLA, this is what the bylaw had in mind. This to me looks like two separate houses with a garage in between. I can certainly understand the family's need, and I don't question that one bit. But if I'm laying out a 6,000 square foot house, I don't think I want to walk whatever amount of space that is to get over to a laundry room. And I certainly don't want to go up a set of stairs to come back down a set of stairs. So, you know, common sense says to me, I'm going to cut through the garage. I'm happy you want to take that door out. I just really don't like the layout at all. I'm a very reluctant yes.
Okay.
Because I feel like you have us over a barrel here.
Remember what Ken said. They designed it. This is
Yeah.
what they wanted. So.
Yeah, but I think if it came before us, I would have been a no.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Madam
Jeff.
Chair. I'm also a reluctant yes with the conditions that the basement remains unfinished, the attic remains unfinished, and the doors removed. But I don't like the plan either.
Thank you.
I'm a yes with the door removed.
Thank you. Ken?
I'm also a yes with the conditions that Jeff spoke of. Also, that door that is remaining on the side almost looks like it is a front door as well. I mean, the way the curvature of the road is, if you just look on an angle, it looks like it could be like a front door facing the street a little bit, but I guess the way it is, I mean, you're gonna get rid of that other door. So I guess, yeah, I'm a yes.
Okay. Corinne?
I am also a reluctant yes. I'm very sympathetic to the applicants and their health situation. If this had come in front of us before the foundation was poured, I think we all would have basically requested that the layout in this plan change. And I can understand why the building inspector did not want to issue the permit. This looks like two separate homes. And again, I agree with John, this isn't what the EFLA was supposed to look like. This is not it. So again, I'm a reluctant yes, and I'm sympathetic to the applicant situation.
Thank you. And I'm a yes on this. I don't understand the layout, but they designed it. This is what they want. I would not have done this for this expensive a house that's being built, but I'm a yes. So, can I have a motion, Ken?
Hey, you want me to read this? You're okay with the conditions, correct? Okay. I move to grant the special permit in accordance with section 9.3.2 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow an extended family living area addition in a conforming dwelling and lot. The municipal water and sewer shall not be overloaded by the EFLA. The public streets shall not become overloaded by the EFLA. The value of other buildings and properties shall not be depreciated by the EFLA. The specific site is an appropriate location for the EFLA. The EFLA will not adversely affect the neighborhood. There will not be undue nuisance to vehicles and pedestrians, and adequate and proper facilities will be provided to ensure the proper operation of the proposed EFLA. The proposed EFLA will be in harmony with the general purpose of the bylaw.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Do we need to add those?
We need to add the conditions.
No finished attic space above the EFLA and no finished basement space below the EFLA, and the left door facing the street be removed.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good luck to the family.
Yes.
Good luck. Yep, thank you.
So these are, yeah.
Our next case is 22 to 42 Cherry Hill Drive, Industrial 2 Zone. Request for dimensional variance from Table 3 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw for numerous accessory recreational structures proposed within the 25-foot rear and side yard setbacks. Request made by Abiomed, Inc., docket 21-4952.
Good evening. She's fixing the microphone? No. It's not working?
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name, for the record, is Attorney Jesse Schomer. I'm a partner with the law offices of Rignante Stereo. Our offices are over in Wakefield, 401 Edgewater Place in the Edgewater Office Park. I represent Abiomed, and we're here tonight to request variances from Section 7.2.2 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaws with respect to a project that we're proposing at the property that you see on your screen. I'm here tonight with Shara Lewis, project manager and owner's representative. Also available via remote participation are the rest of our development team, including Mike Fabiano. He's the site civil engineer of record. He's with High Point Engineering. Also on the line tonight are Mike Hood, facilities manager with Abiomed, Will Danziger, global production leader with Abiomed, as well as Wolf Mueller Hillebrand, senior corporate counsel with Abiomed. So, as I mentioned, the applicant tonight is Abiomed Incorporated. They, on the screen you'll see here, let me get that pointer. The lower building here on this screen, this is 22 Cherry Hill Drive. That's Abiomed's main campus. They have been located there since they were founded 40 years ago this year, actually. In 1981, so they have a long history with the town of Danvers. They're a biomedical technology company, and they recently acquired the building next door, this site here. This is 24 to 42 Cherry Hill Drive, and I'll just point out a couple of things while I'm up here. As you can see here, this is the shape of the lot, roughly speaking here. The proposal that we're here tonight to discuss is just this portion of the site here. This is an existing building that was built in the early 1980s, and this back here, this is a large wetlands depression, and it feeds into a drainage ditch which goes out in this direction here, and this was built around the time that this subdivision was constructed in the early 1980s. So the site in question, this property is roughly 15 and a half acres, just over that. As I mentioned, the building was built in the early 1980s, and then the site that we're proposing to develop is undeveloped woodlands in the back of the site there. And one other thing to point out while we're on this slide, this property here, this is the Beverly Regional Airport. The runways are somewhere up in this area here, and this is public conservation land here, owned by the town of Danvers. So the proposal that we have for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is to construct what's called a leader reaction course, sometimes abbreviated as LRC. And what that is it's a series of outdoor structures which are designed for the purpose of team building and leadership training. And Georgia, if you wouldn't mind going to the third slide in our presentation. These show a couple of examples of the LRC structures here. This is one, this is a different one. They vary in size and footprint. These are some of the larger ones just for illustrative purposes. They take up varying footprints. They have fixed
foundations in the permanent foundations in the soil there, which is why the building inspector made the determination that they are considered accessory structures, which is why we're here before you. And they vary in height from somewhere in the range of 6 feet to just over 10 feet in height. So the idea with the LRC, and Georgia, if you wouldn't mind going back to the second slide, this is the location that we're proposing to construct these. As I mentioned, there are 8 total structures here, and it's a bit confusing because the numbers are off. You see, we start 1, 2, and then we go to 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 16. The reason for that numbering is these structures are designed by a manufacturer, and this is the model that they make. They make a series of LRC structures, and these are the ones that were selected by Abiomed to be constructed. So the proposal in total is to access this area here by an existing, there's a walkway that exists there today, which crosses the wetland. There's a culvert that runs through here, and this is the wetland depression that I mentioned. Here it runs throughout here, feeds through this culvert down to the drainage ditch. So the proposal is to access this area here with an unpaved gravel path, and it would lead around the LRC structures in here, around, and then back out. So total of 8 structures as well as a shed in that location there. I'm sorry? I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's a mulch path, not gravel. So the structures, the LRC course, the intent of it is to be used only by Abiomed employees. The idea is that Abiomed commercial leadership members would lead employees in groups of somewhere in the range of 5 to 8 employees on these courses, and generally go through this exercise as a means of team building, problem solving, and development of leadership skills, both for management and for employees of Abiomed. It is anticipated that the structures will be used approximately once a month, and that would be all year round. And at a time, you could have somewhere in the range of 25 people out in this area at any given time. The locations that you see on the course there, that's not an accident. Those were specifically selected based on the survey of the property. And I've been back there myself, and I can tell you that there are a number of quite large and mature trees out there. So the locations that we proposed there are designed specifically to avoid removing mature trees and to minimize the disturbance of the wetlands, and in fact to stay entirely outside of the local no disturb zone around that wetland depression back there. The 4 structures that we're here tonight to discuss are located partially or entirely within the rear and side 25-foot setback, and that would be this structure, which is located entirely within that setback, and then this structure, and this structure, which are located a small amount within the 25-foot rear or side yard setback, which is a requirement based on section 7.2.2 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw. Now, section 2.9.2 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw provides that this board has the authority to grant variances, dimensional variances, where in the estimation of the board, we have made the determination that there are unique conditions owing to topography, soil conditions, or lot shape, such that the application of the zoning bylaw to this project would create a hardship. And in this case, we would respectfully submit that all 3 of these requirements in this case are met. Specifically, first, with respect to lot shape, just call to you to remember the unique 8-sided lot shape of this property. In addition, the soil conditions consisting of the wetland depression in that area, as well as the topography consisting of the large trees and the grading in that area, we would respectfully submit create a hardship necessitating that these structures be placed as we have proposed them here in order to minimize the disturbance of the natural resources out in this area and to generally minimize the impact of this project on the site. We would respectfully submit that this
project would have no impact on the neighbors whatsoever. As I mentioned, the sites surrounding this are undeveloped conservation land. You can't see it really on this map here, but there is a stone wall which marks the property line. And the property to the rear is undeveloped land owned by the Danvers Municipal Airport. So that's essentially buffer zone to the airport that it is anticipated that there will be no development of that at any time, as long as the airport is still in operation.
Keep getting bigger.
They do, yes, they certainly do.
Smaller.
Good for them. So that consists of my presentation, ladies and gentlemen. We would respectfully request that these variances be granted to Abiomed so that this project can go forward. Just to let you know, we have already been to conservation with a request for a determination of applicability, and that was approved by the Conservation Commission. Our next stop is to go to the Planning Board to request a minor modification of the subdivision approval of this area, and we would welcome any questions, as well as our members who are on the line tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good presentation.
Thank you.
I just have a few questions.
Sure.
These structures that you're going to be constructing, is it somewhat like an obstacle course?
You could say that. Yes, I think you could say that. The idea, it comes from military science. That's the idea. These are common in military institutions, in military academies, and they're used for team building. So I think, in a manner of speaking, yes, you could say that.
Do you have any concern about children trying to access it, just because obviously like an obstacle course might be something that's like an attractive nuisance for them? Will you have a fence around it, or is there going to be some way to ensure that someone walking up your driveway doesn't enter that site?
So I'll just show on the plan here. So this property line here, you can sort of see here, this is an existing fence with the airport, so obviously no one's going to be coming from that direction. This property line is marked with a stone wall that I believe goes all the way down in this direction, and the only way to get through to this area, it's a fairly remote area because of the wetland, is through this single location here. So we're not particularly concerned about children getting back there. This would be, this is a corporate campus. There'd really be no reason for children to be in the area, generally speaking. So no, to answer your question, we don't feel that it's an issue.
Okay. And as far as the Conservation Commission, did they actually view where these buildings are going to be, and do they have any issue with the locations?
I believe, did you, Georgia could probably speak on that.
If that's okay with Becky?
Okay. Did you not hear my question?
No, I just wanted to make sure that was okay, that I could speak to that. The Conservation Commission, we did take a site visit. I actually took a site visit ourselves.
We can hardly hear you.
Sorry, guys. So the Conservation Commission has reviewed this site, and staff has reviewed this site. Physically, they did a site visit. That was pretty late, I want to say about 2 weeks ago.
And they were fine with the location?
Yes,
of
they
the
were fine with the
structure?
locations of the structures, yeah.
Did they put any conditions?
They put a condition on the types of material used, I believe, in some of the work for the temporary crossing at the bottom, which is not associated with the structures, but conservation-wise, out of the 7, I believe only 1 was in Conservation Commission jurisdiction.
And as you stated, the only people who will be using these structures are employees of the company, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
It will not be open to the public. It's not proposed to be connected to the conservation land in any way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
To Kareen's point, though, if someone did, like, if neighborhood teenagers or whatever, they find out that it's there, I gotta tell you, they're gonna be in there, and they're gonna be doing all that stuff. So I was just, yeah. Go there. Well, they find, yeah. No, I did go there. I couldn't really see it, like, in there, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I just remember being a kid and we found stuff and then we would love that. I would love that now. That looks like it's going to be fun.
Ms. Lewis just reminded me that the LRC stations will have wireless security cameras, and they'll be infrared cameras, so they'll be able to be monitored 24 hours a day in case anything like that happened.
So you actually have security, or you have someone there 24 hours a day?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, but then they could call authorities and stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay.
Can you just talk about how these structures, are they like spiked to the ground, or they?
they're affixed with concrete foundations. It's similar to the footings of a deck.
They're not removable?
No, they're not movable. They're not removable. They will be up all year round.
All right, no further questions, thank you.
It's like a sauna tube for a deck.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hopefully you'll be able to tolerate a comment here because I'm leading to a question.
Okay.
We view variances as having a very high bar. And, you know, my way of looking at a variance is when an applicant comes to us and there is no possible way that they can accomplish what they want to accomplish without gaining some relief. And it's hard for me to believe that these are the only places that these structures can be, and having to encroach on the setback.
Comment. Do you have a question?
Why did you determine that you have to encroach on the setback when you have complete freedom to design this course, you know, as it is?
It's a good point and well taken, and I agree with you 100%. I think variances should be granted sparingly, and in my own practice of zoning and permitting, I don't ask for variances, and I recommend my clients not to request variances unless it really is warranted. I won't be before this board with trying to fudge a variance, trying to say that my client's lot is a rectangle and therefore it's an unusual lot shape. This is an unusual lot shape. We also have the soil conditions of the wetlands, and the topography is the primary issue. And you're absolutely right that these structures could be located in different places. However, that would be quite impactful in terms of some significant trees that are back in this area. And we feel that it's important to save those trees because it creates a nice atmosphere. Trees are very important on a site like this, which is has had issues with water in this area. That's the reason why that wetland was built when this subdivision was created. And the more large, mature trees you take out to achieve those kind of setbacks, those trees are part of the stormwater management system. Those trees are taking up huge amounts of water just by being there. So we would contend that taking out those trees, while that's certainly possible, it would negatively impact the site, it would negatively impact the stormwater, and just generally would make the LRC much less usable. So those are the reasons for the request.
We often will
Is there a question?
yes.
Okay.
We will often grant variances for half of the setback, but for instance, your item number 6 there, it seems like it needs some explaining that it's so close.
Georgia, could you go to
Three
the
feet's
next slide there?
asking for a lot.
So task 6 is this one here, as you see here. These are, so it's not it looks like a solid structure on the plan that we've shown you. That's really the outline of the container that they'll be located in. The actual extent of the structure here is this, essentially a wall here with a tube going through it, and then several blocks here that you would make your way across this course through these these structures here. So it's not, the plan is somewhat misleading. It shows it looks like a large structure or a large rectangular thing that takes up that entire area, but in fact it's much more limited.
Jesse, I can speak to that if you like.
I was just saying, these are the three.
We can't, you have to go to the microphone.
Identify yourself.
Shara Lewis with JLL Project Manager. If we just go back just quickly to the prior slide. So this is a this is actually going to be a building. This is a storage structure, and it just goes ever so slightly into the setback here. But the other, and we don't have a design for that. We're working on designing that. Just the corner of this one, 16, part of all of 6, and just the corner of this one here. And if you go to the next slide, so Jesse just showed you this one, the corner of all of, I think just the corner of 16 is in it, and all of 2, right? So my point was just that, to continue on what Jesse was saying, they aren't solid structures, and some of them only have like a corner on them, because sliding them ever so many feet out of the setback would then create a situation where we would have to move a large adjacent tree, so.
Okay.
All right, I'm good.
That makes sense?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you tell me the height of the stone wall that separates this lot and the Town of Danvers property?
I see that Mike Fabiano just popped up. I don't know if he knows the exact height. I've been out there myself, and my recollection is it's just a few feet, maybe 3 feet, 4 feet tall. It's an old historic stone wall. I'm sure we've seen 1 or 2 of those.
4 feet or less, Jesse.
4 foot?
This is Mike Fabiano with High Point Engineering.
And so will there be any lighting out here?
No.
None at all?
Nope.
And what's the hours of operation for Abiomed, and would all shifts make use of this, or is this kind of like a 9 to 5 kind of thing?
Daylight hours, they operate standard business hours. There's no proposal to.
There'll be no commando nighttime raids or anything of this
No,
nature?
nothing of that nature.
You take this as a condition that it wouldn't be in the evening?
I think so. We'd be open to that. Yes.
Without lights.
And so I just, to Jeff's point, I just want to clarify. So is it, it's not every one of these structures is encroaching the setback, or is it?
It's only four of the structures.
In our,
Right.
So to summarize, it's structure 6. Okay, never mind, that question's answered. And will there be any kind of snow removal?
We're not planning to plow, they're not planning to plow that area to use it during the winter.
It's on cable.
We're on
so
cable TV, so
people can't hear you.
people are watching. from
Hi,
home.
Shara Lewis again. Abiomed is not planning to plow this area to use it in the winter. So if the winter is mild and there's no snow, they might run the training courses, but if there's snow, there's no plan to plow and use it then.
Okay, thank you. And so there's 4 different structures that are gonna encroach, is what I see in your,
That's right.
in your paper.
That's right.
Okay. And that is it, Madam Chair. Thank you.
You're good? Okay, thank you. So I'm just gonna go through these, I may be in your description, but based on the plan that's in front of me. So structure number 6, you're looking for 3-foot setback when 25 feet is required, is that right?
That's correct. It's plus or minus 3.
Structure number 6, okay.
Correct.
Structure number 16, 15 feet where 25 is required?
That's right.
So that's more than half, okay.
Yep.
Structure number 5, 17 feet where 25 is required? It's more than half? We go to half sometimes.
Yep.
That's why I'm trying to just see if we're within that. And structure number 2 is 19 feet?
That's right.
Instead of 25? And is that it, those 4?
That's it. Those 4.
So the only one that's really less than half is the number 6?
Correct.
Okay. And it's really not even a building, it's just sort of like a panel. I mean, typically we would allow, in a residential area, we would allow 5 feet for a shed. This, okay, number 6, that's what it is? Okay, and what part is the closest to the lot? Okay.
That's right. We didn't include it in the slideshow, but in the packet, the detail sheets, sheet C301 shows that structure there, so you can see that it's oriented the long way. So really, the taller part of those structures would be perpendicular to the lot line there.
At
So
the bottom right corner there?
That's right, yep.
T6, yeah.
T6, correct. So you see those structures, the walls there, those are perpendicular to the lot line. So really all they'll see is almost like a single, I'm not
Okay.
sure exactly how.
And that's going to be right up against the stone wall, right?
It'll be about 3 feet away from it.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's just to remind you that the outline that you're showing there on the plan, that's the outline that these structures will sit in. So if you look at that, at the detail sheet there, that one does come fairly close to the edge of the frame for that structure, but many of the other ones are inset quite a bit from the
The
border.
setback?
Correct.
Okay. Well, as I said, we often go halfway, and so I only see that you have really one structure that's, and I don't really even call it a structure. It's just those 2
Yep.
panels, right? Okay.
That's right. 2 panels and then the 2 posts in the center
Okay.
there. So,
And you're near all woods around you, so, okay.
correct.
All right, I don't have any other questions.
Madam
Any
Chair,
other
one
questions from the
additional
board?
follow-up.
Well, Sure.
So on T6, and I heard the earlier part of your presentation, so that can't move out because there's a large tree? That can't come out, say, to 5 feet or 10 feet or anything? It has to be at 3 feet? What's preventing it from moving further off of the side setback?
So I wonder if I could ask to kick over to Mike Fabiano, and he could probably answer that question with greater detail than I could.
Thank you, Jesse. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So for task number 6 specifically, in the field, there's a ledge outcrop that is on top of that knoll. If George, if you could go back to the page that shows the layout and zoom in to the task 6, please.
So it's right on the edge of it.
So it's on the edge because right where you see the number 6 on the top of that little knoll, that's kind of like a ledge outcrop. And on top of the ledge outcrop, there's a fair amount of mature trees that are on that area. And where the actual rectangle is shown was the area where we wouldn't have to cut down trees. We wouldn't have to deal with a more extreme slope change between the wall and the top of that knoll. And it was relatively flat, kind of in that shoulder area, tucked up against the stone wall. And that was the first task. And one of the things that wasn't mentioned early in the presentation, one of the other things that was kind of a guiding principle for the layout was the distance between tasks. So we were trying to stay obviously within the confines of the property. We were trying to stay outside of the 50-foot, definitely a 35-foot no build, but the 50-foot no touch zone in the conservation land. And we were trying to stay in a topographic area that would not create any extreme disturbance because of ledge outcrops that were remaining since the 80s when they originally kind of blasted this area, and to avoid all mature trees, not only mature trees, but even mature trees that weren't that mature, just to minimize the amount of disturbance. So we could leave this, once all the construction is complete, it is as natural as possible. So specifically for task 6, it was to avoid those 2 or 3 major items, and that was located in the field specifically for that reason.
Could you hear all that?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Anybody else from the board? Anyone from the audience? Mr. Duggan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matthew Duggan, Selectman. I really have an issue with the number 6 because, let me just point this area out. So this is the back part of Proctor Farm. It's difficult to get in there right now. It's very, very wet because of there's a beaver dam down in this, further down, and trails have kind of gotten overgrown. But I think having this so close to the stone wall, I think it almost impedes into what we know to be conservation land. The stone wall is only it's rubble stone. It's maybe a foot or two high along the whole length, pretty much from Conant Street all the way up.
I don't think the conservation already looked at this, and
Well, they looked at it from a wetlands perspective. I'm just talking about the fact that it's a mature forest. It's an area where we try to keep it natural. I think if you come upon these structures, it may seem unusual. And I trust that the stone wall actually defines the property line.
I'm sure they have had it surveyed.
Yeah, I've looked at a couple of different maps. I have a Mass GIS map and another one as well, so I trust that. The Concom did have a condition, I believe. The original plan was to have rubberized pellets on the pathway, so I think Conservation Commission had that as a condition. It had to be natural material, like wood chips or whatever, so that's important. There was mention of a dock that was part of the Conservation Commission presentation. Could someone point out where that dock is?
He scrunched up that pointer on you.
He sure did. Got the mic in there good, too. The dock is, get my bearings here, is right here, this location here. We're not exactly sure when this was put in place, but that's the location of it, approximately where the wetland crossing is here.
A dock, like,
Platform.
It's a platform.
Oh,
It's like a little fishing.
Yeah, just a platform
fishing
out into
platform.
this pond here.
okay.
The purpose of it is not entirely clear, and it's been
Okay.
there for decades probably. Correct.
Yeah, I think the platform has to be sort of resituated. It looks like it's kind of falling apart. For the security system for number 6, so if someone was in the conservation land and came up near there, didn't cross over the stone wall, that would likely trigger that security system. And now you have someone that's just minding their own business is now confronted with a security apparatus. So that's a concern for me on how number 6 is going to be, how it's going to have that wireless security system. So that's a concern for me. And then just a couple of feet, the variances are forever, and I'm a strong believer in quid pro quo. So maybe this applicant could contribute some money to the local Boy Scouts to kind of help out with maintaining some trail systems. I would assume that the employees might want to come over and actually kind of explore the conservation area as well. And then just one last thing is I'm concerned about trash pickup because oftentimes we see litter in the conservation area, and that's always detracts from the experience. So I would ask the applicant if there was going to be some type of like regular maintenance to maintain the trail, and then also to make sure that there's no no trash left behind.
Okay,
And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
yeah. Abiomed is a responsible company. I think they'll take care of it, but
Yeah,
I'll let you respond to that, Mr. Schumer.
Thank you, and I appreciate the comments. As I mentioned before, Abiomed has been a resident, as it were, of the town of Danvers for 40 years. They're good corporate citizens. I didn't mention this as part of my presentation, but this proposal here is part of a general betterment project for this site that they have recently acquired, and it's going to include a bunch of cleanup of what is essentially a stump dump on another portion of the site. So they're really doing a lot of good work back here to make this site better and beautify it and just really make it more usable for them and clean everything up with what has been a fairly neglected area for quite a long time.
If possible, for the benefit of the audience, can you just explain briefly what Abiomed does?
They're a biomedical technology company. They manufacture, they develop heart technology. I'm afraid I'm not conversant in that. I went to law school instead of medical school, as it turns out.
All right. Thank
Sarah,
you.
did you have anything you wanted to add on that?
Say, if Wolf, if you're there and you want to jump in, but they make a small pump that gets installed inserted into heart transplant, people waiting heart transplants, so that the heart, it can help, and it's very non-invasive, putting this little tiny pump in that allows your heart to keep working while you're waiting for a heart transplant. So they do really good work, and this course is part of a series of things to give back to the employees, things to help train the employees, but also employee morale, because they do such good work for so many others.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments from the board, the audience, anyone else? Okay, we're going to go to deliberations. Maureen?
I actually don't have an issue with this project. I think your company does good work, and I thought you came up with the first, or designed the first artificial heart. I guess I might be wrong. But yes, I will.
This is what we did.
Okay, yes, I will vote for this.
Thank you. Ken?
I was hoping that you could probably, try to move that number 6 structure away from the wall a little bit more, but it sounds like there's, a ledge crop up or whatever there, and it doesn't sound feasible. Is there a way you could shift it up a little further or back a little further, or are you trying to keep some sort of distance or spacing from the shed?
Yeah, I think it has to do with the distance and just really the slopes out there and the way that you approach on the path. That's the reason why it's not located forwards or backwards. And I think locating it farther forwards or backwards would not materially change the impact on the setback there. It would really be in the same location due to that outcropping.
We're doing deliberations
I know.
now.
Yeah. So sorry
Okay.
about that. Yeah.
All right.
So I was sort of a comment that went into the question. Because, to Mr. Duggan's point, that if someone's walking around the area on Proctor, they're going to see that. But I do like it, and I'd actually love to be able to use it someday. I probably can unless I get a job there. But I like it. I'll vote for it.
Thank you.
I would vote for this. Typically, I wouldn't allow that 3-foot setback, but it's not like somebody's going to be building there, so I'm okay with it. I'll vote for it.
Okay. And Jeff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm really unhappy with number 6. Variances are forever, and I'm not totally convinced that there wouldn't be another way to accommodate this, but I will vote in favor of this application.
Thank you. John?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm familiar with these type setups. I actually have one at my job. And I think it's great. It's great for the employees. I'm glad Abiomed's decided to root in here in Danvers. I did not realize it was 40 years, so kudos to them. I look at this as something they're doing nice for not only the employees, but to clean up this area along with the other lot they acquired. So I don't like the setback either on number 6, but
I think it's, you know, it's the kind of thing where it's really not a structure, it's more, and I've seen these, again, from at my job, they're kind of blend in with the trees after a while, so, I think it would be fine, and, I would vote in favor.
Thank you. And I will also vote in favor. I appreciate all that Abiomed does and everything that you bring to the town, and it's great that you can do this for your employees, and I think the impact is minimal with the airport there and the conservation land, so it's not like you're looking in somebody's window where you're going to be doing this, so I'm a yes on this. So, Ken?
Yes. I move to grant the dimensional variances from Table 3 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow various accessory recreational structures related to a leader reaction course within a 25-foot side and rear yard setbacks, as shown on the plans titled Proposed Leader Reaction Course, LRC, 24 to 42 Cherry Hill Drive, Danvers, Mass. 01923, and dated August 25th, 2021. The hardship is the size and shape of the lot. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant. Granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. Do you want me to read these suggested conditions?
Sure.
Each of the 4 proposed accessory structures have different measures of encroachment into the 25-foot side rear setback. To ensure that individually approved setback limits for each associated structure are maintained, the board is going to read conditions, the dimensional variance approved by noting the individual measurements. So on structure 6 is 3 foot where 25 foot is required on the west side rear setback. Structure 16 is a 15-foot where 25 is required on the west side rear setback. Structure 5, 17 feet where the 25 is required on the north side setback. And structure 2, 19 feet where 25 is required on the north side setback.
Are you okay?
Yes, thank you.
A second?
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, Danvers.
Good night, Danvers.
Good night, Danvers.